Living in your car isn't exactly the peak of luxury. Sure, it saves you a lot of dough, but curling up in your back seat every night and constantly battling with the back door for legroom doesn't sound like the most pleasant arrangement in the world. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. Just ask this British couple. With a bit of ingenuity and a whole lot of elbow grease, they took a vehicle destined for the scrap heap and transformed it into a vacation home that they could take wherever they wanted. Martin Hill and Iona Stewart were unbelievably excited for their outdoor trek through Europe. The UK-based couple planned on moving at their own pace, so it didn't make sense for them to book a series of hotel rooms. They didn't exactly want to rough it on campgrounds either. After a few beers one night, Martin mulled over buying a big RV. But then a more creative thought popped into his head. What if he and Iona built their own mobile home? Martin went on eBay and found exactly what he was looking for, an old bread truck. Fortunately, Iona was all for Martin's plan, especially since they got the truck for less than $5,000. Still, there was no denying that it was in pretty rough shape. Could they really turn this old scrap heap into a livable vehicle? Most people wouldn't have dreamed of attempting such a daring renovation, but Iona and Martin were the perfect pair to pull off this stunt. They drew up plans for their truck house and bought all the materials necessary to turn it into a real home. A talented artist, Iona was in charge of interior decoration. She figured out the best arrangements for all the furnishings and added certain touches to make the house feel more like a home. Meanwhile, Martin handled the actual construction aspect. Installing the hardware, electricity, and plumbing into the truck proved to be quite a tall order, but that didn't stop him from having some fun while he was at it. Iona also enjoyed herself as they worked their way closer to the final product. Once the basic bed frame was up, she broke out her killer Dracula impression. Or maybe she was just exhausted and needed a nap. At the same time, they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into their project. Construction took 4 months of full-time work. Martin and Iona could only hope that all their efforts wouldn't be a bust. At last, the time came to unveil their tricked-out truck. With a fresh coat of sleek gray paint, it definitely looked like it could handle Europe's most mountainous roads. But would it be comfortable enough for Martin and Iona to kick back and relax in? The transformation was unbelievable. The cold and empty truck trailer now looked like it came straight out of an interior design magazine. On top of that, Martin and Iona managed to split the limited space into 4 separate rooms. These travelers didn't need to worry if there were no restaurants nearby because they had a fully stocked kitchen on their hands. With a fridge, stove, oven, and microwave, they could whip up any recipe they wanted after a long day of hiking or snowboarding. Their attention to detail in the kitchen was impressive too. Just take a look at the trendy hardwood countertops and tiled walls. Most homes would be hard-pressed to have interiors that are so sleek and up-to-date. Although the entire length of the apartment was only 28 feet long, Iona and Martin still had plenty of room for visitors. Iona's mom and dad even dropped by for a visit. You can't diss the house truck idea once you got the parental seal of approval. All the inhabitants, whether the couple had guests or not, were guaranteed to stay toasty thanks to a stove that heated the entire truck. This feature was especially useful as Martin and Iona spent a lot of time in the Alps. That's also where they met years ago. On the other side of the trailer, these two had a bedroom that would rival accommodations at a 5-star hotel. "It's amazing what you can do. We're not exactly slumming it," quipped Martin, clearly proud of his handiwork. In addition to the space under the bed where Iona liked to pretend to be a vampire, the couple included storage spaces just about wherever they could. That way they could bring along all their cold weather and athletic gear without it clogging up the living room. When nature calls on a wintry night in the Alps, you hate to have to pull over to the side of the road. Thinking ahead, Martin and Iona fitted out a full bathroom. It's pretty impressive that they somehow included actual plumbing in a bare-bones truck trailer. Iona also squeezed in plenty of her artwork through each room to give their house on wheels a little more character. With any luck, the wolf in this painting would be the only one they'd come across on their travels. Of course, the couple didn't spend all their time inside their luxury vehicle. They had too many scenic views and hiking trails to explore. Hopefully, they had enough wall space to hang up all the fantastic photographs they took during their trip. All in all, Martin and Iona spent an additional $25,000 refitting the old truck into a home. However, it was certainly worth the cost. They now had a dream home they could take anywhere, and it sure beat the heck out of an RV. When Martin and Iona first announced they were going to live in a truck, who could have imagined they'd be traveling in such style?